And staying in North America, the Three Amigos Summit is underway in North America. The three-way talks among Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Mexican President Andrés Manuel Lopez Obrador, and U.S. President Joe Biden will follow a side session in which U.S. and Canadian officials will discuss combating climate change and ways to support Ukraine in its fight against a Russian invasion. We have more in this report.
U.S. President Joe Biden, Mexican President Andrés Manuel Lopez Obrador, and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau are meeting for a series of talks on migration, trade, and climate change as the three leaders try to mend tensions that have divided the continent. The three-way gathering is held most years, although there was a hiatus while Mr. Donald Trump was U.S. President. The centerpiece of the summit will be hours of talks with all three leaders, but President Biden is expected to have a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today. It's unlikely to be as contentious as his sit-down with Mr. Lopez Obrador on Monday. During that meeting, the Mexican leader challenged President Biden to improve life across the region, telling him that, quote, "You hold the key in your hand." Mr. Biden responded by pointing to the billions of dollars that the United States spends in foreign aid around the world.
Just in the last 15 years, we've spent billions of dollars in the hemisphere, tens of billions of dollars in the hemisphere. And what we have to do is what you've done, and I can't compliment you on it. We have to continue to support and build democratic institutions in the hemisphere. Mm-hmm. One of the things I was able to do at the G7 is get the G7 to agree that we would have a multi-billion dollar project for infrastructure for the Western Hemisphere, for Latin America, and for Africa, both.
It was a noticeably sharp exchange after the two leaders had smiled and embraced and shaken hands for the cameras. Mr. Biden and Mr. Lopez Obrador haven't been on particularly good terms for the past 2 years. The Mexican leader made no secret of his admiration for former U.S. President Mr. Donald Trump. However, there have been attempts to thaw the relationship, and Mr. Biden made a point of flying into the new Felipe Angeles International Airport, a prized project to the Mexican president, even though it's been a source of controversy. The U.S. and Mexico have also reached an agreement on a major shift in migration policy, which Mr. Biden announced last week. On Monday, before the summit began, Mr. Obrador said he would consider accepting more migrants than previously announced. President Biden is expected to also follow up on his first trip to Mexico as a president with another to Canada, although it has not been scheduled yet. A senior Canadian official who spoke on condition of anonymity said Canada is working with Americans on a visit in the near future.